Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the channel. I actually should say afternoon because I usually upload these videos in the afternoon. But anyway, here in front of me I have quite a few parts. So we have, for one, the new oil pump for the truck. Right here. Put this on top of the gaskets. So this is the new Melling's oil pump. And I actually didn't know this. Obviously, here's the O-rings for the pickup tube and sending assembly. But there's also a spring in here, if you can kind of tell. Yeah, there you go. You can kind of see it there. And then obviously a new plug for the oil pump if you need it. I didn't know that this one was going to come with an extra spring, because this is just the high volume pump, which Melling suggests high volume pumps for high mileage engines. And if you guys don't know, I have 317,000 miles on this engine. So I went ahead and spent the extra money and went with the high volume. And it said it didn't have an extra spring, but I guess I'm gonna have to do some more research on it. Then I have these, which these are the freeze plugs for the truck. And I'm only doing 4 today. This is a whole kit, a whole engine kit. It has the side block plugs. It has the rear block plugs, which are in between the engine and transmission, kind of underneath the not belly pan. What am I trying to think about? Oh, that's what it is. Bell housing for the transmission. So it's in between the engine and bell housing. There's 2 of them in the back. And then on these LS's, if I get on up here, and you won't be able to see it actually, but there are also freeze plugs on the heads. And I'm not going to do any of the rear block or heads freeze plugs right now, because I can I can't kind of get to the bell housing ones easy, but I can get to the head ones pretty easy. And then the next is the timing cover gasket set. So this set comes with a timing cover gasket, which is this big one here, and then water pump gaskets, which is right here. It came with paper and metal, it looks like. And then you have your crankshaft, where the oil pump kind of meets the timing cover on in there, whatever. And then this is for the crankshaft on the outside of the timing cover, where the crankshaft shoots outside of the timing cover to drive the pulley that is, then the harmonic balancer. And then underneath that one I have an oil pan gasket. Yes, that's right. I have to pull the water pump, the timing cover, and the oil pan just to get to this oil pump. And then for the freeze plugs, I really don't need to have any of that off, but it will give me more room to do them. So right now I'm already draining the coolant, if you can tell by the small peeing noise in the background. So draining that, I am going to get a tester that my dad has for coolant to make sure that that coolant is still good to put back into the truck. And I am going to have to top it off because my coolant light came on pretty recently when I was driving around, and I knew I was going to do this. So yeah, I'll need to get more coolant but I'm hoping that this coolant that's already in the truck is still good. And that is what I will do with this bad boy right here. You can also get a refractometer, which are better because it actually gives you the percentage. It's a little like eyeglass thing that you can look in, and it will give you the percentage of glycol and, well, any base that you have for your coolant, really, whether it be glycol or shoot, what's the other one? I don't know, I'm blanking on that too. But anyway, I'm gonna test the coolant, and yeah, these little balls in here will tell me where my coolant's at. So cool. Alright, I'm gonna do that, and I will see you guys at the next update, which will probably be air intake off, fan shroud, fan, and belt off. And I'll probably be working on getting the water pump off at that time as well. So I am to the point where I have the air intake off, the fan shroud out, and the fan off. And all of that's sitting right there. Coolant is still draining, and I did take the upper radiator hose off in hopes to kind of, you know, take some of the vacuum out, because if it's a closed system, it won't drain that fast. So I did that. But I need to go help a buddy with a tree at his house. So I am going to pause this video here, and once I get done with that tree, I'll be back out here and keep on working on it. Okay, I am back, and I've already done a little bit more work on the truck. So I now have the water pump off, and I am pretty much to the point where I need to take the crank pulley off, the dampener off. As you can kind of see there, I need to get that belt off for the AC compressor, tensioner, and vibration dampener, and then I'll be able to get the timing cover off. And then the only thing that I'll need to work on is the oil pan. But, well, as you can see, all of the coolant and stuff, water pump and coolant, is all right here. And yeah, I don't think it's actually really dripping anymore, because obviously getting the water pump out is always a struggle, because, well, the whole water pump is filled, and it's a gerotor type system, so it brings the water, and then it traps it in the little center section and all that type of stuff. Whatever, it got everywhere, but I actually caught most of it in this pan here, so that's a plus. But yeah, I am going to try to get this vibration dampener off so that I can then get the timing cover off, and then we'll be good to go on getting the oil pan off. And then it's as simple as 4 10mm bolts for the oil pump, and, well, I guess 4 10mm, and then 1 that attaches to the pickup tube. But that's really the reason that you need to take the oil pan off, is for the pickup tube. So I'm going to get after it, and hopefully this doesn't take too long, and I will have the, maybe, hopefully, as long as everything goes right, I will have the oil pump in my hand in the next clip. But I guess you and I will find that out, huh? Okay, I'm going to get going. Whew! Okay, so progress has been made, just slow progress. I have my harmonic balancer off, as you can see right there. And all of the bolts for the timing cover are off, except for the 2 at the bottom that connect into the oil pan. And I have all of the oil pan bolts loose, and obviously oil drained, filter off, all that good stuff. So I am going to go take a quick break. But once I come back out, it'll be just as simple as taking the oil pan bolts off, and I'm going to try it with the front differential still in the truck, since it's lifted, and it gives me well, about 6 more inches of clearance. I'm going to see what I can do and see if I can just snake that oil pan off with the front differential in. If I can't, I'll go ahead and take the front differential off, but I'm going to try to get around it. So I'm going to go take my break, but in the next clip, you will probably see me with oil pan off and looking at the oil pump. So for me, it will be probably about 30 minutes, but for you, it will be, well, just as fast as this. Okay, guys, here it is. It's right here. No, I'm just kidding. That's the water pump. Oil pump's over here. Right there. Okay, so that little hole down there, that is where the pickup tube goes into. And these 4 bolts are all that's holding it in. And then there's a 5th bolt that holds in the pickup tube. This is the pickup tube O-ring right here. And right in there, inside of that hex bolt right there, is where the spring is. And I imagine if I tear this thing apart, this spring is going to be loose. Because, well, oil pump with 317,000 miles on it, and that's kind of what you expect. And, yeah, it's obviously got some gooed up oil. Like, look at that. Ooh, yeah, that is nice. Okay, so the old oil pump is out, as you can see. So now we have hit the halfway point, and now it's just time to put new stuff back in. And some of the old stuff, obviously, like the vibration dampener and the fan shroud and the belt and the other belt that's there and the air intake and the water pump hoses and the coolant that I saved. And obviously we're doing an oil change because if you can tell, this is kind of just from where I dragged the oil pump over, but this oil is dark, so it needed to be replaced anyway. So we are going to do that. But yeah, it is currently 8:17, so it really isn't even that late yet. And I know you have a blurry screen. Let me see if I can fix that for you. Flipped around the camera. That's kind of better. I still need to get an actual camera, but whatever. Yeah, that's alright. But, yeah, 8:17, not too late yet. So I'm going to try to get done as much as I can. Hopefully at least getting the timing cover back on, and maybe the vibration dampener. And then after that, I'll have to figure out if I even want to put the new oil pan gasket on. Because when this guy did it, he put a whole lot of RTV on this thing. It is on there. It's not wanting to come out. But we'll see about that part. So, yeah, I'm going to get going, and I will keep you guys updated as to where I am. A few quick things. Well, I got you guys. Now, obviously, this is the new oil pump, and I said that it came with 2 O-rings. Now, this green O-ring that is still in the bag is for a couple of applications, okay? So if you have a vehicle that takes this pump, that uses these O-rings, that uses a pickup tube with a step, or what they call it is the O-ring groove end. So you have a groove for the O-ring, which is, well, where it says approximately 84 thousandths of an inch, right there. You're going to use the green O-ring, which is right here. So I don't have that on my truck. I have the black one on my truck already. So, and then you also use the green if there's a tapered end pickup tube. So that is wider on the outside of the pickup tube and narrower on the inside. So obviously it kind of whoop and then gets tight around that 84 thous. Now I have a straight end pickup tube, so I use the black O-ring. So These instructions that did come with the kit are very important to follow. Also, for the spring valve, the valve spring, relief valve spring instructions. The blue spring, which is right here, already in the bag, the blue spring is for a lower pressure. So this will decrease your oil pressure by 8 to 10 pounds. Now, I don't want that. I want a good, strong oil pressure because I'm not concerned. It's not going to bust out any. There aren't any gaskets that are getting hit by this high pressure oil that if I added some pressure, even on accident, that it would bust them out. So I'm not even worried about that. I'm going to keep it the same as, I think they say that it's a red spring in there. Yes, they say it's a red spring. But yeah, if you want to, well, obviously different pickup tube settings, important. And if you want a slightly lower pressure, this spring is important as well. But I'm going to keep those just in case, like if the spring completely breaks on this thing, I have a backup. So I'll keep these in my truck. Same thing with this. If that O-ring splits and I need to limp home, I can on this. Now, obviously, I wouldn't want to run it all the time on this because there's a reason that there are different O-rings. But anyway, continuing on. Yep, spring O-ring instructions. Don't need those, am I right? Let's throw. I'm joking. I actually kind of might need these. I probably won't, but might as well keep them. I'll unfold it once I stop recording. New oil pump. Going in now. The new oil pump is in, and all of the bolts are tightened up, all four that hold the pump into the block, and the one for the pickup tube that goes into the pump. Now the next part, I've already actually cleaned up the, if you would focus, the timing cover right there, and I have the gasket, well, almost ready. It's still in the box over there, but we'll get that out real quick. I'm gonna clean up around here one last time, and then I'm gonna put on the timing chain cover, and at that point I should be good to zip up the pan and then reassemble the rest of the stuff that is right here, and I guess over there too. Although I don't know if I am going to do that tonight. It is now 9:30 because I spent quite a good amount of time messing with the pump as well as cleaning up the timing cover. So I might throw on the timing cover, get those bolts tightened, and then leave the, well, actually, you know what, I'll take the oil pan and pop it back into place and zip those screws in as well. But then I'm going to call it a night and come out here early tomorrow morning and hopefully get the rest of this stuff done. That'd be really nice. So I will see you guys in the next clip.